So my friends, huge news. It's a major reason to celebrate. I'm down at the Elton John concert in Anaheim, and the AB5 bill has passed, right? That's what I wanted to announce. It just came out. California legislators approved a landmark bill on Tuesday that requires companies like Uber and Lyft to treat contract workers as employees, a move that could reshape the gig economy and that adds fuel to a years-long debate over whether the nature of work has become too insecure. This is our chance now to negotiate a better deal because we now, the drivers, have the power. Now we will sit down with these people and negotiate a deal where our rights, our voice, and mainly the most important thing is that our money comes back into our pockets, right? The bill passed in a 29-11 vote. I'm still going to find out who the 11 people are who voted against this and expose their names. And they did not have the rideshare drivers' backs, and they should pay in the next election. In the state Senate, and will apply to app-based companies. Despite the efforts to negotiate an exemption, California's Governor Gavin Newsom endorsed the bill this month and is expected to sign it. Under the measure, which could get into effect January the 1st, workers must be designated as employees instead of contractors if a company exerts control over how they perform their tasks or if their work is part of a company regular basis. Not in LA at the moment. I'm down in Orange County in Anaheim. Thank you for asking. At the Elton John concert. Last night I was at the Joan Jett and Hart concert, so a lot of concerts this week. The legislation will affect at least 1 million workers in California. 1 million workers in California. And this is going to spill over because everyone is looking at how California ruled. So we fought hard. We put everything into it. We went up to Sacramento, we reported, we striked, we protested, and we won this round. And we're going to negotiate a far better deal for all rideshare drivers. No more bullying. Uber and Lyft won't fly anymore. This was a massive slap in their face. And I see this as a huge victory because we will now negotiate a better package for all of us, right? Again, the legislation will affect at least 1 million workers in California who have been on the receiving end of a decades-long trend of outsourcing and franchising work, making employer-worker relationships more arm's length. Many people have been pushed into contractor status with no access to basic protections like a minimum wage and unemployment insurance. Ride-hailing drivers, food delivery couriers, janitors, nail salon workers, construction workers, and franchise owners could now all be reclassified as employees, right? So we were not alone just battling this. There were a lot of people, truckers, everyone was fighting for a better package. But the bill's passage threatens gig economy companies like Uber and Lyft, the ride-hailing firms, along with app-based services that offer food delivery, home repairs, and dog walking services have built their businesses on inexpensive independent labor. And guess what? That $90 million, like I said, that they spent on opposing this bill, they could have put it to better use, right? They just literally pissed $90 million in the hot desert sand, right? Didn't do anything for them. Here we go. So, they've built their businesses on inexpensive, independent labor. Uber and Lyft, which have hundreds of thousands of drivers in California, have said contract work provides people with flexibility. They have warned that recognizing drivers as employees could destroy their business. They know what this means, ladies and gentlemen. They know what this means. Looks like the people are coming out. Looks like the concert is over. I'm going to finish this quickly because my clients will be coming to the car. The bill, which codifies and extends a 2018 California Supreme Court ruling, may influence other states. A coalition of labor groups is pushing similar legislation in New York and bills in Washington State and Oregon that were similar to California's but failed to advance could see renewed momentum. because of this California verdict, of course. New York passed a minimum wage for ride-hailing drivers last year, but did not try to make them employees. It will have major reverberations around the country, said David Wheel, a top Labor Department official during the Obama administration and the author of a book on the so-called fissuring of ride-hailing drivers. It will have, he argued that the bill could set a new bar for worker protections and force business owners to rethink their reliance on contractors. It's particularly critical because of the impact it's going to have on the development of other business models. California legislature said the bill, known as Assembly Bill 5 and proposed by State Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez, she invited me down to San Diego to do a live feed. So I will be heading down to San Diego soon to meet with her field team and Lorena Gonzalez. And I'm extremely proud of her for standing up and fighting for us Uber and Lyft drivers. Nothing but gratitude, Lorena. A Democrat would set the tone for the future work. Today, the so-called gig companies present themselves as the innovative future of tomorrow, a future where companies don't pay Social Security or Medicare, said State Senator Maria Elena Durazo, Democrat. Let's be clear, there's nothing innovative about underpaying someone their labor. Let's be clear, there is nothing innovative about underpaying someone for their labor. Enough is enough, Uber and Lyft. You have a very clear message here, right? And you better rethink your attitude towards drivers very, very quickly. She added, today we are determining the future of the California economy. Gig-type work has been under the spotlight for years as companies like Uber and Lyft and DoorDash in the United States, as well as Didi Chuxing in China and Ola in India, have grown into behemoths, even as the contractors they relied on did not receive the benefits or minimum pay guaranteed to employees. Many of the companies have worked assiduously to beat back efforts to classify their workers as employees, settling class action lawsuits from drivers and securing exemptions from rules that might have threatened the driver's freelancer status. While regulators in California and at least 3 other states, New York, Alaska, and Oregon, it found that ride-hailing drivers were employees under the state laws for narrow purposes like eligibility for unemployment insurance. Those findings could be overridden by state laws explicitly deeming the drivers as contractors. About half the states in the nation had passed such provisions. But more recently, the tide began changing. 2 federal proposals introduced since 2018 have sought to redefine the way workers are classified to allow more of them to unionize. Those proposals have received support from candidates for the Democratic presidential nomination, including Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren. The presidential hopefuls also lent their endorsement. In Britain, Uber has appealed a decision by a labor tribunal that drivers must be classified as workers entitled to minimum wage and vacation. The country's Supreme Court is expected to hear arguments in the case next year. Some form of benefits to some population of drivers seems inevitable, said Lloyd Walmsley, an equity research analyst at Deutsche Bank who follows the ride-hailing industry. A critical question is how gig economy companies will react to California's new law. Industry officials have estimated that having to rely on employees rather than contractors raises costs by 20 to 30%. Uber and Lyft have repeatedly warned that they will have to start scheduling drivers in advance if they are employees, reducing drivers' ability to work when and where they want. So that was their threat, but we can now sit down and negotiate a package that is fair for us. And I see this as a huge victory, and I'm very, very proud to have been very, very vocal about this. I'm proud of having driven up to Sacramento and Sacramento and San Francisco with other drivers and fighting for drivers' rights. So congratulations to you all. It's time to pop the champagne. So we're over here at the Elton John concert. It looks like it's over. I'm literally on, I'm very close to that dome. Does anybody recognize that? right? TCPs and limos are all lined up here. The good thing is a lot of good police presence here. And my friends, I wish you a good night. So very happy this is over and we've passed this big hurdle. Now it's time to talk dollars and cents with Uber and Lyft. Have a good night, my friends.